Much and a very, very warm welcome today to all of you. Indeed, many of us today is actually award winners, and that sort of tells us that you people have tremendously driven a new age marketing solutions for your organizations. Now, why this new age? In 2019, there was an era. From 2019 to 2022, there is an era. And from January 2023, there would be an era, right? And I think in between this, there is a lot of learning which has gone through. While we have received so many nominations from the organizations, in fact, and we were going through each and every nominations with the jury, we realized that what a tremendous job you people have done. We realized that how you have really driven marketing as a hot seat within the organization. I mean, earlier, I used to hear some words like marketing is a support function, marketing is a facilitator, marketing is sort of, building an organization brand and performance and so. Those were the trends which I could see. Today, most of the nominations we're talking about how they have developed revenue for the brand, revenue for the organization. And that is a big shift. When I'm talking to the CEOs today, surprisingly, most of the CEOs are saying that, hey guys, give me an outlook of what's the marketing look like. Whether you are a B2B brand or you are a B2C brand. And this is important for us because at the CXO table, it's not the sales function which is becoming more important. It is now equally becoming marketing as more important function today. And this function has a direct revenue impact. Just jokingly, lightly, I was interviewing marketing folk for my sort of a division. And my first question is, how would you become more revenue driven for me? And thinking on those lines, we get most of the nominations today, which were actually talking about how marketing is becoming a hot seat within the organization. Having said that, we also thinking about where the marketing is evolving today. And most of our discussions today in the evening would be driving on those factors, how the convergence of technology, empathy, human touch, conversations, mobile applications, and technology is converging into sort of a human touch perspective to drive the next generation marketing. Very nicely, I call it escape velocity. I think fair to say that most of the people in this organization would have learned marketing during their job or during their MBA. Is it so? True? Who has not gone through Michael Porter 5 forces? Now I think there are 7 forces or 9 forces, right? Just raise your hand who has not gone through Michael Porter 5 forces. I could be one of them. But anybody in this room today can tell me what is the important part of marketing? What is the real function's job is? Just anybody who would like to contribute. You're right? Just raise your hand. My colleague will send a mic across to you. What is marketing job? Come on, we have marketeers full of room. This can't be possibly like this.
Yeah, I'll take this.
Please.
So anything between production to consumption, everything is marketing.
Anything from production to consumption, everything is marketing. Great. Any more? Thank you very much, by the way. Yeah, I've got the room.
Hi. Build awareness, consideration, TOM, salience for the brand.
Excellent. Very well. RJT, why don't you contribute? What's marketing? Guys, he was one of the jury members, let me tell you. Okay? So you can imagine. Anybody? Go ahead. Yeah, there is a mic.
Hi, I would like to build on the 1 R you said, and I called it the 3 R's of marketing.
Yeah.
Especially, they work well for a B2B context I work in. One is revenue. Second is relationships. That's where the customer advocacy and the sales advocacy starts working on. And third, obviously, like someone said, the reputation. So I would leave you with 3 R's.
Excellent. Very good. We are very near to what people think. Udit?
From awareness to business. Everything is about marketing. So
Okay.
when you talk about like more business oriented, anything that you bring in top of the funnel and take it all the way to the bottom of the funnel is all marketing.
Yep. Let's put it simply. Any lady who would like to contribute? I was more looking at a lady also. Why don't you talk about? Please bring a mic here. Please. Topic is, what is marketing according to you?
It's right from planning to executing to analyzing and then also retaining your old customers. So it's an entire process, end-to-end process.
Okay, good. I think most of the people said that way. Let me just simplify for you guys, and this is what I read it long back, even when the Michael Porter was not even born. Marketing functions has two responsibility. One, retain the customer. Second, create customers. There is no other responsibility today as such I have seen which is beyond these two statements. There are only two functions as a role, as a function which will play. One, how do I retain the customers, and how do I create new customers? Now, you can divide this into many derivatives: right price, right segment, right geography, right product, right solution. Lot of rights will come across, and that's how Michael Porter was created. But more and more, if I see you people today driving, you are destroying the myths which have been created traditionally in last 50 years. I mean, if you look at in last 2.5 years what you have done versus last 50 years you have done, you yourself is destroying the myths of the marketing which have created over the period of time. And we will discuss all that. Thank you very much for joining. It's always an honor and a pleasure to have you. I know taking time out from your busy schedule, specifically on the working days, and the holidays are starting now, it is always an honor. Because if somebody invites me to a conference today, and for me the biggest trouble is traffic, how do I get out of my office, reach on time, will I be sort of able to get stuck somewhere or not stuck? I think those are the issues which will come. But for you guys, I would probably give yourself a big hand, guys. Thank you for being here. It's an honor for me today. Very warm welcome. And I think I'm going to start today's session with a very important discussion. But there's a code language here. What is B30? Anybody who has come across this acronym B30? B for Bombay and 30. B30. No? It's called Beyond 30. And so the first 30 cities in the country is called India. We all are part of India. But Beyond 30 is called Bharat. And I think today's marketing challenge, I will tell you, is how do I reach to Bharat? How do I leverage Bharat, which is beyond 30, which means there are probably 500 semi-urban, urban areas and lakhs of rural areas where I need to tap into it. Those are my customers. How do I do that? And I think this sort of a dilemma brings where the investment dollars has to go, how do I plan my campaign, which tools to utilize, how do I converge more, how do I go to a tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 cities. Okay? And I think that's the discussion I want to start today with. Can I have you on the stage, please? We have Rajiv with us. Pleasure to have you. Just to give you some introduction about Rajiv as well. Rajiv works with Ozone Tel, Senior Vice President Sales. Please take a seat, Rajiv. Why I wanted Rajiv to come here, because he has extensively worked with Beyond 30 or extensively worked with Bharat. But when I was having a discussion with him, he said Bharat, when he used to work with Bharat, let's say, it was different. And today, the Bharat is quite different. And I think we'd like to hear it from his eyes as to what is the difference between India and Bharat, how we can include Bharat into our sort of an organization and reach as that perspective. So thank you, Rajiv, for being with us. I think my first question, Rajiv, starts with very simple. Do you believe in Bharat? Or is is the mic working, guys? Yes, just checking.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so my first question is, do you really believe in Bharat? Is there a opportunity for us to really reach to Bharat, or still the first 30 cities India is the much bigger opportunity? There's always a dilemma we always find ourselves.
Actually, Bharat very much exists, as you said. And typically what you said is that the saturation which we feel in the top 30, I would go to an extent by saying that maybe top 50, 60 cities are kind of getting saturated. And we have enough means, we have enough media to reach out to our consumers. We have methods to engage with our consumers. And what everybody is looking for, irrespective of the industry or irrespective of the vertical, so whether it be it a pharmaceutical company, be it a FMCG, it could be an automobile company, everybody is looking at Bharat. And with the kind of spends which are taking place in those cities, Bharat is the way to go. And for the next few years, foreseeable years, we don't see that kind of saturation happening there. So it's extremely important for all companies to sell into that Bharat, and that is what the major challenge is.
Sure. Now, so it is clearly that Bharat is the needle we are moving. 30 cities is saturating faster than we actually realize it, but our opportunity lies there. But as soon as we start thinking about Bharat, and most of the marketeers, please tell me if I'm thinking wrong, Bharat becomes very complex for me. The language changes every 50 kilometers, dialect changes every 25 kilometers, culture changes. Probably the geographical dispersion of the whole population is in a difficult terrains as well. Reaching out to them is going to be a problem. We are talking about multicultural, linguistic, complex environment of buying patterns to convince my consumers and customers. So what the way the GTM should be driven by marketeers today to capture the Bharat potential?
So as far as Bharat is concerned, something remarkable happened in 2002. When it happened, I don't think most of us realized what the impact of that event was. So in 2002, telecom exploded in India. So we had a few players. We had 2 players in each circle, and the tariffs were prohibitive. Penetration was very low, and I think, like you said, B30 was probably the target market for all the telcos. And in 2002, when a disruptor came in, and then it became extremely affordable, and we had tariffs which just went south. And today, the penetration of the mobile phone in India, from a population standpoint, is about 95%, which is phenomenal. And from a land mass where people are staying, maybe it is about 90% or 85%. So that is one media which is available across Bharat. So whether you take Northeast India, you take J&K, Ladakh, you can take Andaman Nicobar Islands, you can take any part of the country today, the mobile phone is available as a medium. And like I said, the penetration is in the late 90s, that kind of penetration. And the tariffs are almost zero. So today voice is free. Nobody pays for voice. I mean, you have a fixed plan and you can talk as much as you want. And that is the same for landlines or for mobile phones, right? So reaching out to Bharat, we did a program with a leading FMCG company about 7 years back, when we realized that the best way to reach out to a consumer and later on engage with the consumer, because today marketers want to reach out for sure, and second, they want to engage. So even FMCG companies would love to engage with consumers, because FMCG companies are far removed from consumers in that sense. So you can go and buy online, you can go and buy from a kirana shop, you can buy from a supermarket. The company doesn't know what you're buying, what your profile is, and so on and so forth. So what we did this program, using the mobile phone, this company engaged with millions of consumers in media dark circles. Now media dark, at that time, there were some circles which were very media dark. That keeps changing. And the entire dynamics changed, the sales changed, the engagement changed, and they realized how using the mobile phone and giving content to people to consume. And because incoming calls are free in India, the person used to give a missed call, the platform calls back, and he listens to content, and the FMCG company, which is Unilever in this case, because it's in public domain, they started reiterating their brands in this content which was getting consumed. And sooner, over a period of time, it caught on. It was a very RJ radio kind of a feel. And in the rural areas, I don't know how many of you have stayed or worked there, the homemaker will tell the chief wage earner that so-and-so thing is finished and you get it from the shop. So for example, she'll say that kapde dhone wala sabun khatam ho gaya. So please get when you go to the market. And this guy will go there and he will ask the shopkeeper, give me kapde wala dhone wala sabun. And the shopkeeper will give him whatever he feels is okay. And typically these people will not necessarily ask for it by a brand. But in this program, which ran successfully for more than 3.5 years, Unilever started reiterating that हरे रंग का wheel आप use करिए कपड़े धोने के लिए. I'm not getting the exact words, but this was the gist of it. And over a period of time, the lady of the house started telling this guy that, okay, get me हरे रंग का wheel. And how did this happen? How did we reach that lady? She didn't have access to television. She didn't necessarily need read newspaper ads. And the only way, she had a mobile phone. And listening to content on the mobile, the whole dynamics changed. So one of the key things which we have learned over the last, reaching out to Bharat, even today the most economical way is to use the telecom network.
Sure. And it's a very interesting case study, by the way. I wanted to know what are the outcomes of this case, let's say. Because one thing is for sure, we are the country who actually invented a language called missed call. You remember, guys? We are the first country which actually created, we have a language of missed calls. Because at that point of time, 12 rupees per call. No way we can afford it. So we say 2 calls, it's a girlfriend, 3 calls, it's a friend, 1 call, it's father, right? And scolding. But anyway, what is the outcomes you would see, even if we reach out to them? In this case, what was the outcome?
So in this particular case, the outcome was very clear because Unilever was clear that they wanted to increase the sales of their products in these geographies. So this was done in about 6 Hindi-speaking states. Frankly, like you said, language doesn't matter. The content can be in Hindi or any vernacular language. That's not a challenge at all. And they actually saw sales of various products, various categories, and various SKUs within those categories go up in these areas. So that is a very clear, measurable business impact. That by reaching out to these consumers, and besides reaching out, engaging with the consumers. And then Unilever went a step ahead. They started doing surveys. So again, like you said, in those days, a typical rural household or a tier 3, tier 4 household, the telecom spend was 100 rupees. So India was a prepaid country. And 90% of the telecom subscribers were prepaid. And in a tier 3, tier 4 city, the budget was $100. I can spend 100 rupees on, and then you use missed call and, don't talk and all that stuff.
Sure.
So, they started giving gratification that, okay, let me do a survey. And in that survey, they will try to find out, which brand of washing powder do you use. So they'll put one of their own brands and 2 competition brands. So they started getting insight like that. They will do other demographic stuff. Do you own a car? Do you own a 2-wheeler? Do you own a refrigerator? So they started getting a lot of consumer insight. And so that's how they started fine-tuning now, for example, in a certain state, they know that, say, Nirma is doing better than Wheel. They know what is the marketing strategy for that particular state, very, very focused. So that kind of insight they got. And then over a period of time, they measured the sales actually went up.
Excellent. Related question, but we are just moving fast forward. Last 2.5 years during the pandemic, global buying behavior has changed. India is no sort of a unique country there. India also changed the buying behavior. Because the proliferation of digital devices and digital services across the board, the current Bharat is quite different from a 6 years Bharat, right? 3 years Bharat. People have access to information now. There is a highway being built across sort of our telecom players who have driven this Bharat strongly and inclusively into financial inclusion, social inclusion, economic inclusion. But this Bharat is completely changed, right? They now know most of the stuff. They have the information handy as the stuff. But if I have to now reach out to the new Bharat in last 2.5 years, which the buying behavior changed, what is the difference? How should we look at it? What is the scale I can bring on it?
So about 5 years back, I had attended a NASSCOM summit in which one of the keynote people had said that India will be digitally more literate than literate. So people will be able to consume digital content and use digital technologies even if they don't know how to read and write. So there are people, interestingly, just an anecdote, one person was a cook. So when I asked him, can you make this? He says, YouTube pe dikha do, main kar lunga. And he doesn't understand English. But he just told me to put it on YouTube and hey, he's going to do it for you. So the digital literacy has gone up. So we did a small exercise for a leading toothpaste brand, and this was a rural program. So we did interviews in UP, Orissa, and Jharkhand, in the villages, 150 kilometers away from a big town. And we were surprised at the penetration of smartphones. So there is a perception in places like Mumbai and Delhi that people don't use smartphones in the rural areas. But smartphone penetration is growing up month on month. And with Jio coming out with a Google phone, and they are going to price it at about 5K, this is going to explode. And data is real now. So these people can consume a lot of digital content, even if they are not very literate. So the thing is going to change. The program which I talked about was voice, but things are going to change to video, because video has a much better impact in that sense. Data is extremely cheap in India, and with 5G coming in now, but 5G will take time to go to Bharat. It will be predominantly a B30 phenomena to start with. Yeah. And then once that comes in, I think a combination of an audio and video is a way to reach out. And this can be an engagement also. So you can give a demo video. So for if somebody is wanting to buy a washing machine, hypothetically, you can send a demo video that how does it work. I mean, it can be any implement, it can be a product, it can be a wonder mop. One of our consumers was planning to do that. So video with the penetration which is happening, and the availability and the affordability could be one of the key drivers.
No doubt that devices and the reach today as content itself is now being ready to be delivered to them at the remotest area. Even the e-commerce and the delivery mechanism around e-commerce has connected the sort of remotest areas everywhere possible, in fact. Thousands of pin codes, and I think I would say thousands of villages also get connected. You will still get the delivery, but may take some time. Before I reach to the last part of the question, anything you want to ask, guys? Very happy to take a stop here and check. Just raise your hand. We have a mic, please.
Hi, Rajiv. Good
Hi.
to hear about that, that rural initiative that HUL took long back. It was called Kankhajura Station.
That's right.
Instead of a station, what you call in a very rural
so in UP, many people say station.
So, those days, being into brand marketing and communication, we were also keen how it works. But now it is not existing as I know about it. And even those days, to create awareness about Kankhajura Station, they took a route of, other media, which was out of home or something of that. But I don't recollect. It was long back. It is so as he was mentioning that it is 6 years back, things were different and things are different now. So what would you think about these kind of initiatives getting limited because of furthermore, I would say reach down the line into the rural areas of these mobile and internet connectivity going up? Smartphones and internet connectivity going up, the initiatives like these, which HUL took those many years back, maybe 10 years or so.
Not 10 years, about 6 years back.
Okay.
And there was a time frame, so there was a shelf life of that program. And HUL was clear that once we reach a certain level of consumption of content and number of active users, they'll put an end to it. And their vision at that time, I don't know whether KKT version 2 is going to be announced soon, but having said that, their vision was that they will use video more than audio to penetrate into the market. So the program ended after about 5 years, and they won a few awards internationally. And after that, most of the rural programs are centered or going to be centered around video as we go along.
Good. Any more questions, guys? We're happy to take it. Okay. One more question. Please state your name and company as well.
Hi Rajiv, my name is Sarthak. I am from Sweaters Makers.
Hi.
I wanted to understand, do you believe that for Bharat version, will have more of infomercials when it comes to the content? Or do you think the companies need to take some other path?
Actually, that depends on how we want to engage with the customer. Because when we did this program for levers, in India there are two things which are very popular in terms of content. One is Bollywood. I'm talking of Hindi-speaking states because this project was done in Hindi-speaking states. And even if you take the southern states or the states in other parts of the country, local film plays a big role as far as content is concerned. So one is Bollywood, and second is cricket. So Indians are, they want to know the score and they want to know what is happening, etc., etc., etc. So they decided that they will steer away from cricket because there are a lot of platforms giving cricket kind of stuff, and they will stick to Bollywood. So the content was entertainment. So they decided to entertain the people in the rural areas who do not have FM stations. So FM stations is also a B30 or a B50 phenomena. So when you're driving in a rural area, you don't get an FM station. So they decided to create a radio kind of a feel, and the content was predominantly entertainment. Now, if you take a use case, we had done a project with Monsanto, which was for farmers. There the content was technical in the sense content which farmers can use. So weather patterns, soil, fertilizers, pesticides, seeds, etc., etc. So the content can be decided by what you want to do. And we did one more project in Rajasthan, which was a social project for women and child development department, where the content was the citizens, the government of Rajasthan had a lot of schemes, like every government has a lot of schemes for citizens. But a lot of citizens don't know about those schemes. They are not aware what are their rights in terms of, freebies and other kind of stuff. So the content is completely dynamic. It can be audio, it can be video, and it can be interactive also. Like in the case of Monsanto, in case the farmer wanted to speak to an agent, they were agricultural scientists, agronomists who would answer questions for them. So the content is entirely decided by the business or by the organization which wants to drive it.
Good. Any more questions? I've been happy to take one more. See, my job is becoming easier and easier.
Hi, my name is Sridhar. I work with Otis Elevators.
Hi, Sridhar.
One thing I'm seeing is India has a huge supply challenge more than a demand challenge. And the scale at which marketing can now reach consumers across India, which would be at an explosive scale and an instant reach. Do you think there's going to be a huge disappointment that what you're promising is not going to reach all of the people that the marketing is going to reach? Because earlier you had campaigns, you had city by city, state by state, branch office khol ke, ye karke, okay, then you move, and so nobody is disappointed. A lot of people resign to the fact that by the time something comes to this village, probably the product is outdated. But now you reach so fast, is the physical delivery of this going to lag? And how do you see that play?
So it depends on the product category. So if you take FMCGs, over time, their distribution models are world class. So FMCGs, you will get a Lux or a Lifebuoy soap in the remotest part of the country. So that distribution piece is settled. Then if you take e-commerce companies, so between all these e-commerce companies and India Post, like he said, you can reach almost, like I had spoken to somebody in Amazon, he says we cover 95% of PIN codes in India, which is phenomenal. I mean, 95% PIN codes. Now, it depends on the product, it depends on your distribution mechanism, and it depends on how do you want to reach the consumer in the last mile from a delivery aspect.
Yeah. No, I see that. Sorry to...
Please.
See, I'm talking about products that solve real problems. I always have this thing about FMCG, a Red Bull can give you wings to fly, but to go to a higher floor, you need a lift, okay? So, things that you really need, which are problem solving from a country standpoint, you can still reach, be it water, be it affordable houses, be it elevators, all these things are time consuming and difficult to reach to people. So in that context, I'm saying, I do understand FMCG, they can scale up easily, but so many other products where, you have even cars with a 12-month lead time now in the top 30 cities. So I'm just wondering that.
So let me just take an attempt of your sort of a question there. See, I think earlier the opaqueness in the supply chain was there. Okay, why it was there? It was by design. There are distributors and there are regional distributors and there are sort of retailers when they are reaching it out. And by design, this supply chain was opaque, and therefore you don't have an idea about where the consumptions are happening and how this is happening. But today, when you're looking at integrated digital platforms, where the technology is playing an important role, you have the full visibility and transparency, right? If anybody who has recently ordered an automobile, let's say, they will exactly tell you 7 months, 12 days. The car will be at your doorstep, we will deliver to you, you don't have to worry about it. please click on this link and it will tell you where it is in the production. Right? So you can see the engine getting inside your car, you can see your bumpers getting stuck, and if any hanky-panky business is there, then you're actually going back to the automobile sector saying, I don't want this car. I think that transparency in the supply chain is building more trust for the people today by design. When I say by design, I know how much products I have in my inventory, how much I can supply. If I can't supply, I will say, so when he's saying 95% of pin codes are covered, he's also saying that I should, as a brand, promise to the consumer that I cannot deliver to you. What you are asking me to deliver tomorrow, I cannot deliver, it will take me 15 days of time. But at least I have trust to build, I have that reach to there. I'm not hanging in between. I think that's where today's difference will come versus what there was in the history perspective. You little bit satisfied? Okay, 1 to 5 marks. Good, bad, ugly? Okay, good. Rajiv, last part of the question is very important for all of us. The kind of convergence around technology is coming is talking about market of one, which means everybody in this room wants brands and sort of organizations to reach to me in my context. Okay? Now, if I have to do this at scale, it is becoming sort of a physically not possible and very expensive for us. Now, for that I need platform. But this new technologies, for example, we are talking about Meta, AI, ML, is coming into place. Honest, hand on your heart, how much is this valid? How much it is actually being used as applications today? Or how much is the noise?
Okay, as far as AI and ML, I mean AI is part of ML, is concerned, I think it is maturing very rapidly. Okay, so voice recognition is a given thing now, and we have ourselves achieved more than 95% accuracy, at least in English and Hindi to start with. And if I were to do the HUL program, KKT program now, there is something called generational AI. Okay, so what is that? Now, for example, if you are a listener of KKT and every time I come out with a joke, you switch off. You don't want to listen to those jokes. Or every time, or you always listen to, say, a bhajan or a Mohammed Rafi song, for example. So I can pick up all that stuff using AI for millions of consumers at scale, and then even curate content which will suit you. So earlier what was happening, it was a canned content. So I get a content from the partner, I load it onto my platform, and everybody who calls in listens to the same content, from start to finish. But now, if using AI at scale, I'm able to curate, just see how powerful that message is. So for example, 100,000 people are calling, and there'll be patterns. I mean, everybody's not going to be unique. But if I'm able to fix those patterns, and I'm able to generate content which is needed for that set of people or that set of the society, I can do that. So that's where I think is going to play an important role. And as I said, the technology is maturing very rapidly. And I don't think we are too far away. Maybe 6 months to 12 months down the line, this will be widely used. So this is going to be a use of no human beings are going to sit and analyze reports. The engine will analyze the consumption pattern or the demographics or what have you, and then start giving you content back like that.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Many of the nominations which we have received is actually talking about the Bharat more than India. And I'm more inclined to see that it is at least 100x more opportunity than actually India. So guys, if you are a marketeer and if you're looking at whether a B2B or a B2C platform, you're looking at India versus Bharat, Bharat is 100x more opportunity than actually India. Start leveraging it. Today is the time for us to do it. But there is a time's up which is showing me red mark saying that time's up, so we'll get out of the stage. Thank you very much, Rajiv, for being with us today. Please give him a big hand on sharing some of the information. So thank you. Guys, I'm sorry. I think there is a problem. Guys, while we shift to the next session, one of the things which came to my mind was very important. While we are talking about Bharat, I think, have you recently gone through shorts of YouTube, in shorts in YouTube or in Netflix and etc.? How many people actually spend a hell lot of our time watching those? Just raise your hand. They are amazing, right? I mean, you see pets, there are jokes, you laugh a lot, you spend a hell lot of our time. True? I mean, movies time is going down, serials time is going down, soap era time is going down. I think shorts time is coming up. So I would start saying the shop era, right? Shorts era. Why is that happening? I'll tell you, because you are enjoying the content creators themselves and you are ready to pay for that as well. Because this is not a content which is driven by a production house. This is not a campaign which is driven by a marketeer. This is a content driven by the remotest of the villages and you still enjoy it as far as you know it. Brands have started utilizing this now. You know, sometimes you watch it, when sometimes you see a video, there is a brand in the background. These are small villagers kids. I think I saw a recent one where they were acting like a heroine. Recently there was a controversy about that song, right? And these kids were acting like we can also be like a swaggy type. But then there are content which is at the behind the scene talking about the brands as well. So they are associating the brands from a content creation perspective. And that's very important. I think now, taking the discussion forward, we have a very interesting panel discussion today, right? We are talking about Amrit, Amritansu, but Amritansu is from Zepto. Where is Amritansu here? Is in the room? Yeah. Hey, hi, please come, please join us. So he takes care of the marketing, Zepto. I call him a digital native company. Anybody here who understands this new breed of companies? You understand DNB? I cannot. Please give him a big hand to be joining us with us. Okay, here it is. Then we also have Udit with us. Udit, yeah, please give him a big hand as well. Udit is from Exotel. He is a Chief Marketing Officer from Exotel. Please, thank you for having here. Udit, please take a seat. I think he's talking about how technology is sort of helping marketers as well. Then we also have Pooja with us, and I'm so sorry. Pooja? Yeah, hi. Please give her a big hand. Please. I think Pooja from Reinvent. I don't know if there is anybody who doesn't understand a brand called Reinvent with us today. Anybody here? Okay. Please take a seat, please take a seat. And we also have with us Ramesh, I think a hat man I call it. Please welcome Ramesh. Ramesh is also a jury for us who has been evaluating your nominations and selecting. I have been asking this question from him, please tell me who has won. He hasn't yet told me in fact. Okay. Now, I think the discussion is very important. While we talked about Bharat and India, now a debate which I have been observing across media, social media, sometimes in articles, sometimes in books as well, is the era between sort of conversational marketing or mobile apps, right? And many a times you people also get this into a discussion in your organization, should we launch a mobile app, should we do a conversational marketing, which is better? And that debate is still on. There is no right or wrong answers, but I have got a good audience here on the stage to give us some right and wrong answers on this one. You are with me, right? Only one rule, all easy questions towards me, all difficult questions to the panelists. You agree with me? Okay, brilliant. Now, with this, I'll take the seat as well. The mics there, please make sure that the mics are working. Good. So one of the things which I'm really going to ask you is, there is a myth that organizations create, customer experience. Okay? I want to really understand your viewpoints about this word called most abused word, I would call it, and most used word is customer experience. I'm hearing this, a Thelawala outside, he says, who's important, customer experience is important. I'm talking platform, I'm talking, chat messages, etc. Everything is sort of revolving about this is customer experience. And I think we have overused, abused, whatever. But I want to hear from you, from your own organization, how do you think about customer experience?
Yeah, so at Zepto, it's a very high touch point platform. In the traditional sense of the marketing funnel, as in from awareness to the delivery of the product, that whole window is as short as 30 minutes in some cases. And for us, customer experience is actually ensuring that customers have a very good feeling when they're when they're going through their purchase journey. They feel good across every touch point, right? So whether it's an advertisement, on a hoarding or on a digital platform, let's say YouTube, or the delivery partner actually delivering the product. I think each of those touch points will constitute an aspect of customer experience, and I keep
I think you promised 10 minutes of delivery, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, absolutely. And that again is a delight factor, right? So it makes us memorable for the customer. And to quote Maya Angelou, people will not remember what we said or what we did. They will remember how we made them feel, right? And that is the broad essence of customer experience. So tools and everything are means to an end.
Okay. Udit?
So I think the responsibility on us is huge. So Exotel is like a command center for delivering customer experiences, if I say. And for us is to make sure that the customer experience of our customer experience is superb. And how do we make sure is, we make sure that the uptime is the highest for the customers. There is no downtimes when they are communicating with customers. The most frustrating moment for a brand is that when a customer is trying to transact with a brand and the customer doesn't get an OTP, or customer doesn't get a response from a brand when the customer is really want a response. So we make sure that that happens. And I see from my personal journey, customer experience is all about repeatability. It's about referencing repeatability to the business.
Hi everyone. So I think in FMCG customer experience, sometimes we don't really focus that much on it because you're focusing on mass advertising. But of course, customer experience is important because of what you see, touch, feel, and the entire communication journey which you want to communicate. But I did work for some time in this company called Kaya Marico. And there I believe customer experience, while we are very used to doing big advertising campaigns, what I learned over there is that customer experience actually creates the brand. So how do you really deliver your entire customer experience from what you promise, and then the gap in what you deliver is actually what keeps the brand alive. And I think that's what a lot of great service brands like a McDonald's versus a regular vada pav restaurant can differentiate on is that, regular customer experience. So no matter what you do, where you go, you will get the same service. Experience has a large way to really, drive delivery and, give a great experience and build your brand. And I think all D2C sites, I've also seen that, the big glamour is the product line, or the big glamour is really how you advertise. But ultimately, the big reason why some companies succeed and don't is the end endeavor of what they actually experience and feel. And basically, like your point said, which is get consumers and then retain consumers. And that's what customer experience does.
Thank you. Somebody is supporting me with my definition. Thank you. Yes, Ramesh.
You gave me a dud mic?
Yeah, I mean, nobody wanted to hear the jury remarks, no?
Till I've announced the results,
yeah.
Right? Okay, let me just move a little bit away from what people said. I think you heard the why of customer experience. I just want to talk about the what, which takes off from the last thing that Pooja said. How many of you in this room have bought into a restaurant or a hotel which scored less than 4? Rarely, right? You must know that restaurant very well if you had to take a 3.8 and accept it. Okay. So this is the reality of customer experience. Today we are in an age where broadcast advertising is convincing you much less than other people's experiences. Okay. So when you say 750 or 3,000 ratings and it's 4.3, he gets a lot of free stuff. He gets free customer acquisition, yeah, he gets repeat purchase, he gets upselling, and he gets loyalty and lifetime value, all going into the bank. And I'll close this first comment with a simple piece of data, which is 22. Tarun, 22 May, right? Yes. So we did a white paper on customer experience with KPMG and published it. What we found is we did 3,000 customers, 300 different companies, 23 categories. In the top 9 categories we studied, they left $200 billion on the table as a consequence of poor customer experience. You flip that and see the kind of money you can get.
Fantastic. I think I am now stuck to this number called 250 billion. 200 billion. Oh, even 1 billion is okay with me, believe me, right? But guys, let me ask a show of hand. How many people in this room as marketeers believe that you create customer experience? Just raise your hand, big hands. You can raise, just say yes if you so. Only 3 people say yes? You don't create customer experience? Then, okay, big yes or big no? Yes. Good. It's a myth. You people are all wrong. I'll tell you why. None of you create customer experience. Customer create their own experiences. The best you can do is enable experience for your customers. That's it. Customers have their own journey path. Customers will create their own experiences. Some will have good, some will have bad, some will have ugly as well. Now, I will go double click on this customer sort of an experience or a customer centricity. We will talk about 5 E's. The first 3 E's are very important. One is E is for expectations, knowing the customer's expectations. Second E, if you know the expectations of the customer, you also know what experiences you need to create. But the last E is engagement. And it's my personal opinion that the last E is more important than the first 2 E's. Because if you are able to engage with the customer, whether you are engaging on a chai wala tapri shop or you're engaging in a 5-star hotel, does not really matter. Your value maximum sits in engagement. And that's the topic of discussion as well. Should I be focusing towards the first 2 E and create a huge expectations and experiences? Or I should be focusing about creating an engagement? And then we move to double click whether this engagement is through mobile apps or through conversations which we are doing it. Right? The first question, and I'll start with the lady first, but Pooja yourself, because one of my KPI is that lady should speak first. And one of my KPI is that lady should speak first in the diversity of whole perspective. But yes, Pooja, your views on it.
So I think all 3 are connected. And I agree with you that, I would say knowing the consumer or customer and knowing the expectations is really key to drive engagement. Sure. Because only then if I know you, can I deliver something to you that engages you. And you're absolutely right, like now all marketing, because of digital, has moved more towards engagement. And how do I really drive that experience? And your second part is conversational marketing. So I think I work on a brand also, so I work not only on Reinvent, but I also work on a brand called Kama Sutra, which I hope everyone knows. So what we did is downloading an app, we all know is a huge amount of friction today. It takes up a huge amount of space, and it's very cumbersome. And therefore, knowing the expectations of the customer. So in order to engage the consumers, what we did is we did conversational marketing, where we actually tied up, a lot of people obviously talk about sex at WhatsApp, and there's a company called AI Bobble, which actually has a reach of 65 million people. So while people were talking about love, sex with their partners, we actually very aptly in contextual marketing gave the right amount of stickers, which they could give and woo their partners, and became a part of the conversation by not intruding, but helping the person have a partner with their conversation. And this really helped to, like you said, drive exponential reach. We got like around 7 million reach, and we also got 1 million share, and therefore Kama Sutra as a brand, which is seen as old-fashioned, old fuddy-duddy. Again, this being a part of this conversational marketing really helped us also drive our brand imagery.
Absolutely, and I log my WhatsApp all the time. Coming to Amrit, to yourself. Talked about ease, right? Do you agree that it's an engagement which is more important, or an experience or a journey which becomes more important? How are you dealing it in your organization?
So we prioritize engagement at any given point. It's important to ensure that the journey is never discontinued by the platform or the brand, right?
Sure.
So the customer always has the right and the capability to pull the plug on a conversation, right? So our job is to ensure there are no dead ends in their journey, right? And we've all faced this, as in IVR calls are infamous for this, right? Press 9 and there's a caller tune for 5 minutes and then maybe something happens. But a very small example, on the Zepto app, every once in a while things do go out of stock, right? And very rare, but whenever that happens, we have a feature called Notify Me, right? And no one asked us to do that, right? But we know that if we have that conversation, that small button, right, then people know that, okay, we have not shut our doors, right? So people click on Notify Me, they get a notification as soon as we have it back in stock over WhatsApp. And instead of that, the fact that something is out of stock becoming a poor experience, that we actually flip it and it actually becomes a better experience. People who click on Notify Me, they actually have 20% higher retention than people, who
Sure.
find everything
So
in stock.
it's happening on your app.
Yeah,
right?
on our app.
Now, also the question, second part of the question is, conversational discussion is also moving out of the app. And I'm seeing 90-95%, you agree guys, 90-95% is conversation moving out of the app. Okay?
True. Yeah.
So the question always comes in the marketer's mind, I mean, why is that I am managing an app, having an app, maintain it, keep it fresh, innovating it, new features, new functions, reach out, and so, versus why not, no app, only WhatsApp, right? We can always do that, right? And things are moving very fast on that side. So how are you balancing the two? Where still the strategy is sitting yours?
I think it's important that we are able to find that middle ground, right? Because just like any shift in technology, it will not happen overnight, right? So we might actually end up at the losing end if we over-index on a potential emerging technology. I'm a firm believer in conversational marketing. I believe that is the way forward. That's one of the major ways how brands can differentiate themselves from brands that are not investing into that. But conversational marketing is, as things stand, it's a communication approach, right? It's an engagement approach, right? So for it to evolve into a platform by itself, I think we have a few years before that happens.
Okay. So you're saying balance is there?
Balance is absolutely needed, yeah.
I know, I have a counterintuitive viewpoint from you, Ramesh. I'm pretty sure about it.
You're right. I don't think mobile apps are going anywhere. Okay. Let's just look at the traditional way in which we live our lives. Okay. 11 o'clock in the morning, there's a guy who will come into the gated community. Apple, Kela, Mosambi. For me, that's conversational marketing. Okay. But you also have gated communities or communities in which there's a permanent vegetable and fruit store inside. Okay. That is subscription. Right? The conversational marketing to me is largely headline purchase. When I see a good headline, I buy that magazine. Subscription is when I permanently buy into the banner, which is The Economist. I know anything that comes out from there is great. So Netflix, Swiggy, Prime Amazon, whatever it is, Amazon itself, are all having permanent real estate on my phone, right? And that's going to continue because that is where I go in first shot. There is no conversation there. It's already there in my head. Real estate in my head, real estate in my device is contained in the mobile app. It's not going anywhere.
So mobile app is going to be there. Most of the people have said, let's have a balance between the both. I think Pooja said the needle is more shifting towards conversational marketing than actually app.
I think in FMCG and for smaller brands. But
Yeah.
I guess for larger, I guess in FMCG, like all of us can't make our own app.
Yeah.
There is always that passion. We love our brand. The consumers are not going to download our app. But definitely, yeah, for aggregators, I think the app will, continue like Netflix, Amazon.
Yeah.
So that's what I see.
So I think there is
just one thing. I'm
So
just saying
please.
that wherever you want subscription, you need real estate parked there.
Yeah.
And people who create subscription typically tend to generate much higher exponential valuations and revenues than people who need to have conversations all the time transactionally. That's the only point I'm making. Okay. Now, a conversation is not going anywhere either, but it will be in the context of the real estate. If I have to open a new conversation every day saying Apple Kela Mozambi, I'm in trouble.
True. And I'm with you, because the next question is Udit with you. If this is true, that there is a balance, whether the needle is towards marketing conversation or towards the applications, there is an integration requirement. There's a platform requirement people should be talking about and building that context around it. It's a difficult task. I'll tell you why. We all have heard this word called omni-channel. Am I correct, guys? Yes or no? Everybody has spent some money on it. Yes or no? Huge amount of money, guys. You wasted your money. Because it's called omni-consumption. You should know where your customers are consuming from, rather than assuming that these channels are all valid and people would come and join you, right? Now, when omni-consumption comes with it, it's becoming more and more difficult, right? I need to understand, respond simultaneously. Platform is required. How do we solve this?
I think first we need to understand the contextuality, right? So I think what Pooja said, that you have to be in the context of the customer, right? The customer, like when she was promoting Kama Sutra as a brand, right? And you were there with the customer on the channel where they are present in that context, right? And I quite agree with Ramesh where the apps is going to stay, but my view is that apps going to stay where if I need a 10 minutes delivery, I go to Zepto. But how do I go to Zepto? Should I go to Swiggy Instamart, or should I go to Blinkit, or should I go to Zepto for that matter? That customer acquisition stage, right? We need to understand if we are actually going to customers to acquire customers, then of course conversational is going to stay. If we say that if we have to retain customers and have more reviews of customers, the user reviews, like we talk about 4.8 rating, and you expect me that, or 4 rating, you expect me to write a review on Zomato, perhaps not. But if I come out of a restaurant, you send me a WhatsApp and you say that, can you rate me on a scale 1 to 5? Perhaps I will, right? And that would add up to your score. So it's like getting how easy I make my consumer that experience to relate to a brand matters, right? That's one. Second, now there are a lot of channels, right? Like omni-channel is the order of the day. We started with email marketing, we started with voice, and then here the era of apps come in. Now then the era of conversational marketing come in, and then there is an interesting AI world attached to it, where bots will interact with you and will not make you like get in touch with the human being. But what actually the technology is doing these days, that they're integrating all these channels into one area and helping you engage with the customer in the context where they are, what they want, rather than that you just pushing the message that, okay, fine, I want to sell you and here I'm pushing my message. Rather, I'm present with you where you are in the context where you are, in a more personalized manner.
Absolutely. So context becomes very important.
Absolutely.
Okay? Now, the question is, if everybody in this room is a Kuber or has a Kuber as part of it, then one-to-one marketing, that done. You know, I know XYZ as a person, I have a person who's going to refer to that person, but we can't hire so many people, we can't do it. So my question is coming to the last 2 E's, okay? One is explosion. What is exploding? Digital is exploding. We are seeing our consumption pattern on a digital is much higher than on a physical platform. Anywhere you look at it. The type of documents you read on a digital versus physical, type of buying you do on a digital versus physical is changing a lot. It is digital first today. Now, this is explosion which is happening. People want, as a marketeers, expectations of CEO is that you should be exponential in value. And all of the 4 people establish the value is in the conversation. Value is in the engagement. You still need mobile app, but you need engagement as well. You can't get out of it. How do I get exponential value in engagement if I have to drive explosion? I think the biggest problem comes in, how do I make this happen? In theory, it looks very good. But even customer acquisition cost is going higher and higher. In retaining customers is going higher and higher. IVRs are not going anywhere. At the same time, I need to have a chatbot. Do I create an empathy through a chatbot? Is it possible? First of all, are we able to do that? or it's a human to human, or it's sort of integrating the channels altogether, right? Okay, I'm going to start with you, Amrit, but it's a very important point for everybody today.
Yeah, absolutely. I would strongly echo the fact that that it's a problem statement every marketer acknowledges, but we have no clue where to start. The whole concept of, having a segment of one person, great in theory, but I think we have to start from somewhere in the middle, right, and then drill it down to a segment of one. And at some level, it has to be powered by technology, right? So MarTech is going to be the driver of all of this. AI, as in, if we have all been following, ChatGPT is, writing entire research papers, right? And it's digging up information on its own. There are tools such as copy.ai. You just tell it what you want, and a length of probably where you want it, and I'm sure folks in the B2B space will be leveraging it big time, and it just provides it to you, right? And if you give it quality scores, then it learns also what is it that you specifically require, right? What's the tonality? Grammarly, people would have used, I strongly recommend it despite any amount of English prowess. It tells you what's the tonality of the message that you've written, right? And all of this self-learning, I don't think that point in time is that far when a lot of our copy, a lot of our creatives, will be through API calls, right? There will be product and tech teams that will be managing a lot of this. It's scary, but it's coming, to being prepared is definitely better. So that, I think, is going to enable us to actually address this segment of one problem.
Got it. Pooja?
So I think that, I think marketing, definitely has moved from mass to personalization. And I think it's a mix of both. So of course, I'll talk on my example, because in my field, we have to reach and drive a lot of penetration. But to your point, if it's engagement or something that I feel I need to, do, I have to have a personalized communication or conversation with that person. And that's a great part of digital, actually, if you go to see, from I'm talking to a person, I am now basically making the person feel a part of the social network, but I'm still engaging with them at a personal level. And I think that's what digital marketing does beautifully. So because, like wherever I engage with them, like if you do Metaverse, if I'm, for example, collecting the cookies and then retargeting them, and I think someone said, which Unilever did 7 years ago, we all now have a lot more rich data to do it. So I think going forward, I feel people do want to be spoken to personally in a social context. And I think this will continue to really increase. My second point is on omni-channel, like I do feel today you have to, I'll go with your first C, which is knowing the expectations of the consumer and following the consumer, an off-term called consumer decision journey. And everyone I've seen who started online, like a Nykaa now has offline. And everyone who started offline is on online. So Amazon is also getting 5 to 6% of its revenue offline because they acquired Whole Foods. So I think the world is now getting quite, sticking to its old traditional values, but it's really morphing to the future. And I think we are still, having that bridge in that journey to really cross. So it's quite interesting, all the different touch points that it's quite exciting. We have many more touch points to really push the buttons.
Sure. I think time is going to be short for us, but Ramesh, very quick views on that.
I think your question is about explosion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many people in this room are happy with their customer service across all the businesses that you use?
You should be happy about your customer service.
Okay. That's what they think. But I think all of us generally get pissed off, right? But at the same time, once you go to the right level, the right person, you will most of the time get your problem solved. Correct? Okay. So here's the point, which basically means there are large parts of the organization which is not interested in good customer service. There are some people who will bend over backwards to give you good customer service. Correct? Here's where I want to talk about explosion. Singapore Airlines, right, is the platinum standard as far as customer experience is concerned. All of us will agree on that. Coming out of the pandemic, they carried 21 million passengers at an average ticket size of $2,000. Right? 21 million passengers. And still, you get consistent customer service. They started in 1974, which is almost 50 years ago to the date. They were the last to start in the area. They had Japan Airlines, Thai, Malaysian Airways, Ansett, Qantas, Cathay Pacific to contend with. They came from a domestic business which was 16 by 24 miles in size, so they had no domestic business to speak of, and still they are the platinum standard. My point is this: long before digital, somebody did very heavy lifting, person to person, customer to customer, country to country, and gave you outstanding customer service. We can still do it. Can we focus on the quality of customer service and bring digital efficiency under it? That's my only point.
Excellent. And continue. Please give him a big hand. Absolutely. Continued the same question. If digital is going to be the backbone, how do we create it? Because I don't believe on that.
So, okay, first of all, let's talk about your belief. You don't believe the digital part of it, or you don't believe the digital revolution?
I mean, how many people today have a digital fatigue, let's say this way, right? Raise your hand. See?
Fine, but can you get away with it?
Can you get away with it? I mean, I'm not going to ask that question.
Okay, so I think I'm very impressed by India, I think, and your question about explosion and exponential has two aspects to it. Now, explosion is like data explosion, right? I think India is the only country perhaps in the world which has cheapest data today, or cheapest telecom services for that matter. The entire country has replaced the physical currency into a digital currency, at least to a larger extent, at least B30 for that matter, if not Bharat. And to a larger extent, even in Bharat as well. Today, you go into a small town and you go to a rickshawala. If you don't have a change, you can pay TM. He's fine with that. You buy anything from a hawker, you can pay TM. I think they've revolutionized the way we use data. I mean, that's the exponential part of India. They've actually converted India population as using the digital transformation amazing, right? And I think there is no country other than India which uses digital to that level, where you're actually managing money, you're managing experience, everything is digital, right? So coming back to the point, I think we as marketers really have to go to customers where they are. You know, apart from all the other apps, my father is 70-year-old. He's having a not so great health. The only app that he's hooked to the moment he was awake, and the most of the business that he, for his daily life that he does is on WhatsApp.
Yes.
And I was amazed by the whole adoption of that. And being a literate guy, and I actually adopted Digi Yatra after seeing some couple of posts of my friends on LinkedIn. I was not aware. So that is the power of that is the exponential part of it. You know, there are certain apps which are actually becoming full spectrum of services for the customers. They're touching the last mile.
Absolutely. You want to add something here?
He said certain apps.
Yeah, so I think the word which is coming into my mind, and I'm sure we are time up and we have to end our conversation, but we have just got warmed up, believe me, is super apps, right? I think I would clearly see that app is going to go away in next 5 years. Nobody is going to invest money into the apps. They will invest money into sort of super apps. And WhatsApp is a super app, right? Messaging, conversational, engagement platforms are super apps, because super app can deep dive into many other areas of, you know, product solutions and so and so. And we do use them today, as far as I know. 3-4 things which has come out in our conversation. One, very clearly, if you look at the behavior of consumers, the line between physical and digital is completely blurred out. Today, if they don't like the coffee of this hotel, in a blink of second, they are on a digital platform. And on a blink of second, they are also asking masala tea from the counter there. So for you guys, for us as a consumer, largely to Bharat as well, physical and digital world, there is no difference between both of them. Good. Thank you very much for having that technology. Because in our unconscious behavior, this has gone. The second part, it is the engagement which we should be talking about, not the experience only. Because largely we can have a great experience, still have no business to do. But if we have a great engagement, we have a great experience yet to create, but still the business to be done. So I think most of the people talked about engagement is the only way to look forward, but we use experience as synonymous for our engagement discussions. Right? And that's very important. And I think the third is very important. Most of the people related to words explosion and exponential. I think that really talks about not only for the first 3 E's, but the importance of convergence or a confluence of MarTech as well as the marketing concepts which are coming today across the board. With this, thank you very much for your time today, having you on the platform, sharing your sort of insights here. And Amish sir, thank you very much for being us. A lot of people are looking forward to hear from you as well. Okay. Please give them a big hand, guys. Thank you, man. Udit, thank you very much. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Ramesh, I think they want to take a photograph. Please. Thank you. Please give them a big hand, guys. She was very politely saying to me, get out of the stage fast.
Yeah, and everyone believed that,
all to
right?
you.
Thank you, Shalil. You kind of, as always, set the stage on fire. And while we are still setting up for the next panel, I think what we are here yet to discuss in the last leg, and we're not going to bore you much, is something that has already been hinted upon in the previous panel about the role of MarTech. Okay, and to discuss the very same thing, I'd like to invite on stage my panelists here. We have Naveen joining us from Pepperfry, Head of Marketing. Naveen, can we please have you on stage? We also have Sridhar joining us from Otis. Sridhar, please. And last but not the least, we have Ankur from WebEngage joining us for this panel here. Guys, give a big hand to all my panelists here. Thank you so much. Please have a seat. So yeah, we heard our previous fireside chat and the panelists, discussing marketing and how it has evolved, right? And the role that, the expectations that have been set up from this new jargon called MarTech, right? That was already hinted upon. And, but what we wish to, discuss right now, and this is my personal, I wish to learn and understand something very paradoxical that's happening is that we are wanting to deliver bespoke marketing, but at scale. Okay, and I just go bonkers thinking that, okay, that's a very, very tough job and, not a very sweet spot to be in as marketers, right? So before we begin our conversation, the first thing, and we have a kind of a diverse panel here, you are from Pepperfry, Naveen, and you also have the experience of Asian Paints, like you told me a few minutes back. And Sridhar, you are from a completely different industry, right? Expectations from MarTech and keeping, your industry perspective, right, will be very different from each one of you. So Naveen, why don't we begin with you, and what do you see MarTech delivering, and what are your expectations from MarTech?
I'll put it like this. MarTech fundamentally at the end of the day is, I don't know, let's say a toy and a tool. Right? At the end of the day, it's the user who needs to figure how exactly can you use that, right? Fundamentally, marketing for years, because we've had FMCG brands, folks also talk about that for a while, right? It's that, one, knowing the customer right, and second, knowing what to give for the consumer exactly when they need what, right? So what MarTech enables, number one for me is, through different tools, be it a CDP, segmentation, or marketing orchestration, is fundamentally to understand, number one, exactly who my consumer is, right? How are they behaving at different junctures? And secondly, what action can I trigger to make them engage better with me, right? So is that a purchase? Is that advocacy? Is that whatever be that, right? However can we build that? And today, why I'm talking about this is because you could have a great premium level sedan with you, but not know how to use it right? And which is mostly the problem that happens in most of the places, that there is a great marketing orchestration platform with somebody, but you do not know how to use it right? And which is the largest challenge, I think, at this juncture, most organizations would be maybe dealing with. You have a great tool, but do not know exactly how to use it right. And what you need to understand is also, most of the time the users of this tool are marketeers and not technology folks, right? So in an organization, I have my, let's say, my retention manager using this tool, who needs to exactly know how to scale this, but keeping his consumer or her consumer insights in mind, right? So that's the largest challenge. So for me, I think right now, that's what we are trying to bridge. What it enables us is that, for example, when I send, for example, a mailer, let me take that case as a communication, or a triggered mailer or an intervention-based mailer because of an action a specific user has taken, I need to send only 1/20 the number of mailers to get the same conversion, right? Or even lesser than that, right? Because you've just caught them at the right juncture. For example, I'm not getting into numbers too much, but let's say I know today that a consumer on my page, if they have viewed 10 products, are very likely to convert. Then there are interventions enabled today to ensure at the 10th page, I do something so that they convert, right? So a lot of this is functionally you evaluating your data correct, because a lot of times, again, what goes is, we know how to use the marketing orchestration right, but do not know the exact analytics to trigger when, right? So I think it's about marrying all of this together, and that's, for me, what MarTech is all about fundamentally. Yeah.
So if I just have to articulate it, what Shalil mentioned in the previous panel is that omni-consumption, with MarTech, what you're really targeting is that you know where my customer is at that point of time, and from where it is about to consume, and hence you are directing your efforts, more targetedly, right?
Yeah, fundamentally it gives you a lot of data points, right? So starting point is you get a lot of data points, you need to know exactly what that means for you as business. Number two is, for that data point, how do you really trigger what communication? Because somebody, Zepto, they talked about having a notify me when it's back in stock, right? The idea is, you should be very clear, like for example, in our case, we know there's an abandoned cart, there is an abandoned browse, there is somebody who added a coupon but did not purchase. I need to know, if I segment that as business value, if I trigger these, what will give me the highest conversions? Because of course there will be 1,000 use cases, right? The idea is to figure which will give me highest business impact, putting that as a pyramid, figuring out what to attack first, and keep attacking more. Because what we discuss internally is, what are the 100 use cases you can build? Once that 100 use cases are built, what are the next 100? Right? Because it's so much, because somebody talked about the segment of 1 in the previous case. You can't get to a segment of 1, of course, right? I think they talked about that. The idea is, where do you start? Keep adding, keep evaluating what's working for you. Whenever we do campaigns, what we do is, there's always, I wouldn't call it an A/B testing, but we'll say there's a variant with whom we are deploying the segments, right? And there's a segment with which we do not do. And we keep evaluating what is the delta. And if the delta is substantial enough, scale that up. Because you talked about how do you scale, right? If that's delta is substantial, we scale it up. If it's not, move on to the next. Because parallelly, the consumer is also evolving. So yeah.
Sridhar, you are from a different world, right? Naveen is, like his company is born on the digital, and but yours is more traditional format, right? What are your expectations, and what are you doing to prepare for this?
Thank you. First of all, pleasure to be in a room full of marketing folks. I say we are the function with the least control on the outcomes in an organization. So, and probably that's why we are the happiest people around, maybe. Yeah? So, a real pleasure to be here, and also in the context of Mint, my favorite magazine, news magazine. It's a pleasure to read Mint, and it's very heavy on content. So great to be among all of you here. A couple of points on context with my business, so that the conversation makes sense. The first elevator in India was installed in the Raj Bhavan. At that time, it was the Viceroy House in Kolkata. In 130 years, we still maintain the lift, and it's still gives bread and butter to an OTCN over 130 years. So when we talk about customer journey, it's a pretty long journey. And the kind of marketing tools that are now emerging is, how do we leverage that to keep this engagement going across generations, maybe. So that's one context of elevator. Second is, if you look at it globally, we maintain 2 million elevators. We move 2 billion equivalent people per day, or the population of the earth every week. Equivalent people. So we are the largest transportation company in the world by definition. And probably larger than Indian Railways from a number of people we move point of view. So the question is, when you engage with people in such scale, how do you create experience? See, the problem with elevator is most people want to spend the least amount of time in the product. The sooner you're out of a lift, everybody is happier. So within that 50 seconds or 30 seconds, from a user standpoint, how do we create an experience is the thing. And the third thing is, because of the long cycle, multiple employees in the company interact with the customer at various points in time. It's like, one patient sitting in a hospital and all the doctors come and see him and go, rather than a patient going to multiple doctors. So question is, what kind of marketing technology can I leverage that everybody has a consistent conversation with the customer? So these are the dynamics in which we look at how we leverage technology. And recently, with the growth of technologies like PropTech and RERA coming into place, we pretty much know which building and consumer is coming up for us from an elevator standpoint. So there's a very high, and then we have the maintenance base, which is kind of our captive customer base. So I have a very well articulated customer base across India. The question is, how do I bring all this together? The PropTech input coming into my CRM, how I leverage HubSpot, how I leverage social media conversations and inputs either through a Sprout or some other management tool, but all coming through to having, to doing two things. One is basically acquisition and retention, but the third and most important thing which we really look to is, how does the customer talk on your behalf? How does the customer do a brand advocate for you? So what can we do? And one of the key things we try to create out here is to communicate to customer that we are working in your best interest. So it's not about product differentiation or service differentiation. That's a bit passé, the way we look at it. Our focus is to say, how do we communicate to customer that what I'm doing right now, or in this engagement, I'm acting in your best interest and giving you an input which best fits you. So these are some of the challenges or areas around which we work around from a marketing standpoint.
Sure, thanks. So Ankur, you are viewing all these use cases come to you maybe every day as your work day. How do you address, and what is the gamut of use cases for a martech, and how do you solutionize any?
Sure. So I think the best way to do this is to actually give you a little story. So if you were to book a ticket on Make My Trip and you take a flight and you land in Delhi, in a few seconds when you switch off your phone again, you'll get a message saying that, if you go out to this counter with BlueSmart and show them this OTP, you will have a cab ready for you within seconds. Now, it's a fairly simple thing to do in that sense, but if you imagine the amount of complexity it takes to orchestrate this is where segment of one comes into play. Because I'm on that flight, I'm landing in Delhi at that point of time, and I would probably expect to have a cab. Imagine the conversion rate of this kind of communication if it's timed well. It's a segment of one, it's very personalized, it can be orchestrated at scale. So I'm perfectly certain that bespoke marketing can be done at scale. If you look at what the Amazon does or what the Netflix does, every single homepage when you go there versus when I go there is different, right? Because it's your series of clicks or your series of experiences that you spend time on which decide what you're going to see on that page. And in a prior avatar, I've actually been a marketer on the other side. So I used to run global CRM for a company called Foodpanda. And food is a business where if I'm sitting at Sofitel BKC, there's only a certain radius within which I can place an order. Right? If you look at a national campaign for a platform like that, the only thing you could possibly send to consumers in 45 cities was Domino's 1+1 get, kind of an offer. But that's not how food operates. And I can see Amritanshu nodding because, a lot of these businesses are very hyper-local in nature. You need to know my cuisine preferences, my price point preferences, my geographic limitations, maybe my language preferences, and all of that stuff has to now get stitched together to deliver the message that needs to come to me. So what's funny is a lot of brands still don't leverage it well enough, and they still see a very one-size-fits-all kind of message sent across. And where we see the maximum impact coming in, Pepperfry happens to be a customer for us, is where a lot of this data is getting utilized for personalization. So I know what you spend time on, I know what you like, I know what kind of products you've bought before, I know the price segments you operate in. I know a lot about you. And if you look at how Google and Facebook improve their click-through rates on their ads, it's ultimately about leveraging data. So I'm fairly convinced bespoke marketing is possible at scale. it can really have a massive impact on click-throughs. Yeah. So I hope that gives you some perspective on what's possible and how.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for that, Uncle. But it's something I want to allude to what Naveen mentioned, that what this has also done is that because you are wanting to understand and you are able to understand your customer so much better, driving data and all, right? Your speed of innovation as a marketer has to increase tremendously, right? Because like Naveen mentioned, that once you're done with the first 100 use cases, what will be the next 100, right? Are you ready? Is the market or is the industry as marketers ready for the speed of creativity? Because marketing for me, from my textbook days, was more of a function of creativity. Now it seems to be more of a function of technology, right? How do you traverse these lines? Any thoughts on those?
So, well, I think my point of view is fairly simple. What Naveen said is, you can use a fairly powerful marketing orchestration platform, but if you don't know how to leverage it well enough from every nook and corner, you'll have a certain journey. In very simplistic sense, if you look at how Google and Facebook have become mainstream, it's been a 15-year journey. And marketing automation or marketing technologies, the way we are talking about right now, is a 3, 4, 5-year-old kind of phenomenon. In that sense, from an adoption perspective, the part where we as WebEngage still struggle with is adoption. There's so much that the product can do, but most marketers aren't yet ready to fully leverage it. In fact, it's a little dangerous to say this in a room full of marketers, but we find better resonance from the product management ecosystem where those guys are much more attuned to understanding data models and triggers compared to a marketer. But my hunch is, and I'm a marketer and I'm being a product guy as well, if you want to be a marketer who's tech ready and data ready, you will have to get your hands a little dirty. And that's a matter of time. We see already a lot of CMOs like Naveen doing this, and I heard him speak about automation and triggers as well at his level. So it's a matter of time, and it'll take its own course, and it's going to happen. There's no doubt.
Shridhar, you want to add something? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I think some of the creativity and the quality of the content in marketing has to still prevail. It cannot be overruled by sheer power of tech that you have in reaching people with, but what are you reaching with? So that's the question for us. So we continuously work on improving the way we engage with people, be it forms of surveys and gamification, or a selfie in the elevator contest kind of events that we would like to do, and continue to build a passion for the people in the product itself. So in many ways, an elevator would behave like an automobile if we create that passion. So the first insight that hit me was, if I'm having dinner with a group of 10 people, 8 of them don't know the brand of elevator in their building. They would know the flooring and what is in the bathroom, but they would not know the vehicle which takes the first vehicle in the morning and the last vehicle in the evening. Uska brand nahi pata. So that's the kind of engagement that we need to now step up on, which requires very solid content, very solid creative ways to engage with people, and the way marketing tech can help us in getting that across is important, but we still need a solid team to create that and find ways to reach customers in a very cost-effective way.
Yeah, so what I would add is, to answer your question, one, yes, I think marketing as a team needs to be more welcoming of the technology, right? Because that's and I'm talking of this because I moved from a traditional FMCG firm, which was Asian Paints, where we used to sell directly to dealers, not to consumers, who end up selling to consumers, right? And from that to Pepperfry, where we directly deal with consumers. And hence, what's super critical is we end up also recruiting a lot of people who come from different industries. So one thing we actively pursue is getting them hooked onto the technology and getting it right. So a lot of times, yes, that is a challenge. People getting onto the platform, figuring out how it can help you. Second thing is also to answer on the creative part is that I think creative will continue to be a separate game. But what these platforms provide you the chance today, like if you go to traditional ad making, there's maybe a green lighting process where you take 200 consumers, see what works, then figure it out, take it out to the market. What the platforms let you do is that exactly, right? Today, what we do is when I make a creative, I send it out to 10,000 people, send it out to another 2,000 differently, figure out how do they react differently to both of this, and then actually scale it up. So what these platforms also let you do is exactly know what is working for you. Historically, when we were worried about A/B testing, when do I do? Now it's just a scale of matter of time, right? Like yesterday we were trying to test something which we want to scale out to, let's say, 25 lakh people. We did it out with 10,000 people, took a call on what to do next, right? Of course, now 10,000 is a large enough platform, but the answer is with you in like half an hour, right? So you deploy, figure out what's to take next. So to answer your question, yes, I think it will need marketers to invest. Like he talked about product being very easily welcoming of this. I think marketing will step in.
It's getting
because yeah, fundamentally growth is that, right?
It is
I mean,
the
product
intersection,
marketing
right?
and coming together. So fundamentally that will have to happen. And the second thing I talked about, I go back to what I said first, which is it's a great tool, right? But you need to know to use it right. And which is where continuously we need, it's not about like orchestration tells you when to intervene. I think it's super critical that you get your analytics piece right, which is you need to know without A/B testing that when does your customer react how, and then go with your hypothesis and test that. Like for example, I go back to the point that I said that today, what is the number of consumers, for example, on my website, the number of products they view when their chances of converting are high is a hypothesis I should have first, then go test, instead of A/B testing to get there, because then it's going to take a lot of time. To answer your question, how many campaigns do I deploy to figure out what are the best campaigns? You have to build your hypothesis using either your own analytics, or we also operate with a lot of analytical tools which throw their insights and then we take them out and then figure out what to do. So one of the two has to happen. And then I think it's a commitment from the entire organization to make it work. I think the moment you are glued onto that, like I said, the simple ratio I was talking about, right? When I send an email basis an action a user has taken on my website, it's a very personalized action to that user, my conversion is 20 times better. Or the other way to put it, so it just works. Eventually you'll figure out the benefits and then you will move is what I feel.
You saw some nuance on what Naveen is saying. So for very simply, a smartest copywriter will actually be a very data-savvy copywriter. So for example, just in the simple abandoned cart communication, most of us get communication, hey, you forgot something in your cart, question mark, still want to buy. And that's your email, and probably it might have the product image or might not. But just switch this to the name of the product itself with the subject line. Very simple, very tactical, and add a question mark at the end of it. Still looking for product name, Nike, whatever, shoes X. And put that question mark. 3 to 4x difference in conversion rates. It's ultimately the marketer, the copywriter who's doing this switch, and if he's savvy enough about it, the kind of impact he can drive is massive. So using it well can make a meaningful difference.
Sure. Yeah, please.
See, one of the things that we are doing, which a lot of people are not focusing on, is an IoT-based solution. So in elevator service is a big thing, so we use remote maintenance. So we are setting up a network, but it's a two-way data voice video network, which we will connect. So for example, in India, we have over 100,000 lifts across the country. We've started a program to connect, primarily aimed at better service, like you will know. So imagine in a room with a NASA screen where all the LCD screens are there. So we know all the lifts moving up and down, which ones get stuck, so we respond. But at the same time, I have a proprietary network with my customers through which I can create experiences as a marketing person, because it's my own IoT network, and so I have an app for the owner and the passenger in the car can also interact with. So so my point is, if you look at marketing tech companies, they need to understand the context of companies a lot more. I have so many opportunities to create experience and engagement. I'm not going to be an expert in all the 9,000 MarTech tools that are out there, but really looking for partners who can really understand our business and then work with us in building that experience, because that is hugely valuable. And like the other gentleman said, that's a real estate. So you will be my partner for good. I'm not going to have 10 different apps to create MarTech experience for my customers. So really need to understand our context and work together to drive the results.
Thank you so much, Sridhar, because you beautifully brought me to the next phase of my conversation. We all agree that yes, MarTech can deliver the promise of bespoke, marketing at scale. However, I think the nuances are such that one, like Naveen mentioned, that the buy-in has to be there. It has to be the job of the complete organization, and this will have implication even on the cost structures, right? Because one, there are too many options out there. How do you decide which channel will work for you within MarTech? Okay, and the efficiency that. So how do you? What are those radars? That keeps you. Helps you take these decisions. And these will be nuanced to each industry. But how do you decide that? That which channel will work?
So I'll put it like this, right? I think I'll go back to what I started off first with. It is, let's let's call this automobile and take an automobile comparison. So I can choose to buy entry-level hatchback or a premium hatchback or a premium sedan, but I think the call needs to be coming from two parts. One is exactly what is your use case, right? What is that you need? And secondly, what is that your outflow could be, right? And why I put this out is because in the market now, when you take a call, whether to take a MarTech and who, like somebody talked about, there is about 8,000 plus options, right? And the idea is how do you decide what's right for you? So what we fundamentally go by a thumb rule is you need to know what is the number of consumers you want to reach out to, right? For the number of consumers you want to reach out to, what are the events that you really want to really interact with, for example? And what is the speed with which you want to interact, for example? Let's say you want an interaction in less than 5 seconds because they are in journey and you want to catch them to do something. Or you want an interaction which is with after 30 minutes because I want to send an email later and say you abandon cart, right? And similar more such tools, when I put some of these into play, you will suddenly know what works best for you. Okay, so to go back, because there are, the price brackets also operate all across, right? Like I started by a premium hatchback to an entry-level hatchback, the prices change so much. So you will have the entire price bracket. What we always operate is what are the number of consumers you want to get to, what is the outflow you are ready to go with, and what are the cool features you want. If I want a GPS navigation which is voice enabled in automobile, then I'll pay for it. So because today those are also the differentiation people bring in, right? There are apps which will intelligently tell you what's the right time to mail, intelligently tell you between notifications to email to SMS, what works best for which consumer, and content cards, etc. Right? So I think to answer you right, the idea is to figure out what your outflow is and then plan out with that what you want to do.
Yeah. So just in our context, we use a combination of digital marketing driven by programmatic. In India, the number one platform on which we see results is Facebook. Very few of the other social media has given us any results. And then we use a tool called Sprout for our social media management. The expenditure experience we have is this. So for an impression, we spend about 25 paisa or so when an ad appears is targeted at a user. And when it comes to a lead, it's about 1,000 rupees a lead that we are spending. And it comes to a sale, we are looking at something in the range of 15 to 20,000 rupees is the marketing spend per sale. So if you see from an impression of 25 paisa, converting to a customer buying, it grows to 20,000 rupees. So that's that's I would say the kind of dilution that you're seeing from the software perceives that this is a target customer to whom I should flash this advertisement, which is driven through programmatic and some of the other tools we have. But from there to conversion, the cost for me is growing 20,000 times literally. So here is where we need more and more analysis and tools to figure out really how to optimize this, how to make sure that we are showing impressions to the right people, and once we show, how do we move it to a lead and a sale? There is a huge gap, and we need lots of tools to make this more and more precise.
I think Ankur is here just to solve that.
I see that the time's up, so I'm going to give you a quick 2 cents here. So one is, as a marketer, most of us are spending a fairly large amount of money on advertising and acquisition. So typically the ROAS, as the term is used, is like 3x, 4x, 5x at best, in best case scenarios. Typically, MarTech tools cost way less. So usually money should not be the reason why you should choose or not choose a tool. That's my first feedback. Second, like Naveen mentioned, is the usability of a Ferrari, and if you don't have the right guy to drive it, is not going to be much better than a premium sedan. So choose that from that angle, that if you were to choose a platform which your team would be able to fully squeeze juice out of, and you use 80% of a sedan's value in his parlance, vis-a-vis 5% of a Ferrari's value, you'll be better off with the sedan. So money is not going to be the criteria. Just figure out how easy is it to use and how well your team can leverage it. And that's my 2 cents on choosing the stack. That's all.
Sure, thanks, Ankur. I know time's up, but one last question. Do you see the role of MarTech more only in the B2C space or even B2B, where...
Well, at scale, everybody wants to personalize communication. So I'm technically a B2B marketer, but when you start getting communications from WebEngage, if and when you do, you will see a meaningful amount of tech involved in our play as well. It's absolutely essential.
Great. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And I think we had an interesting conversation. Thank you, audience, for being there. Thank you.
Let's try once again. Good evening. Only 5 people. Good evening, everybody. Don't worry, I have 156 slides to go for. You're okay with that? Okay, guys, I think it's time to take a little break. We had a wonderful discussion. I think we wanted to make sure that it is precise, it is short, it is going deeper into a discussion of some of the dilemmas and some of the questions you already have. Because when we are talking to you people offline, during meetings and etc., we come to know these questions a lot. And being a media platform ourselves, we try to solve and decode those questions for you. But we also try to celebrate and recognize the award winners. We'll take a short break of 30 minutes, guys. Be outside while we prepare ourselves for the winners to come on the stage. With this, thank you very much for being here with us on time. We'll see you in 30 minutes. losing the audience. That's what it is said, right? So, good evening, everybody. I mean, I remember my school days, right? So when the teacher used to enter in the sort of a classroom, and the way we used to wish the teacher was, "Good evening, ma'am." What is this, guys? Let's try once again. Okay, this side. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Fantastic, I love it. This side. Good evening. One more. Good evening. Some people said ma'am also. Right? Okay, guys, last time together, all of us. Very good evening to all of you. Good evening. Brilliant, thank you very much. Welcome back, as I said. I think this is the time when we are actually celebrating and recognizing the marketing leaders under the umbrella of Mint Marketing Awards. But before that, I am just going to ask some few questions. Everybody has planned out a holiday? Please raise your hand. Going for a holiday from tomorrow? Only one person is going for a holiday? Or you don't want to open it up? Please give, who said that? Please give him a big hand, man. He's not a marketeer. You are a marketeer? Or the most planned one. Or the most planned. Please. Yeah. That is actually a myth. Please give. So I thought in your leisure time you would like to read something. And I think there is a holiday sort of a reading material which I want to hand over to you. But for that, I want to invite Udit once again on the stage. Udit has created a sort of a marketing holiday. No, it's not a. Can we have a mic, please?
So I just thought we have an interesting content through the evening, very interesting things. So before coming in, we just put together a marketer's handbook. So we just packaged everything. It's a holiday season and shoppers are out, so let's go get them. And we just thought let's put together something which will help us go more structured and go across channels. Thank you. Enjoy the read. And if you want this guide, go to our booth. You can scan the QR code and you will get it. Otherwise, we will send it after the event as well.
So thank you. Thank you very much, Udit. I think there is something for us to do in a leisure time. But I must say, I've gone through the report itself, and it really talks about how conversation is engaging, and marketers are focusing more on conversation side than actually on that side. Now, the second thing is everybody has a mobile phone in this room, right? So my colleague will come and collect all of it. You don't want, right? You don't believe it. It's a good. Just open Twitter. Please open your mobile phones and please open Twitter. Okay. Search for #MintMarketing2022. If somebody wants to click this sort of a pose as well. Once done, let me know. Okay, guys, now this should be the most active channel of communication now. Let the world know who are the winners. Let the world know who have been recognized as the best leaders. And this is the Twitter handle. You should be opening it and putting it across all. Am I getting a yes or no? Yes. All of you guys? Okay, brilliant. Now, to set the stage for the awards, I would like to invite Editor-in-Chief Sutyajit KK on the stage. Please give him a big hand. He has traveled all the way from Delhi to another place and then jumped on a flight to be with us today in the evening. And please give him a big hand, guys. Please, thank you. Thank you, sir. और इनको हम प्यार से SK भी बोलते हैं. That's what we agreed on.
Thank you, Shalil. Shalil is terrorizing this room by making you folks tweet and by saying good evening loud and all that. It's great. Thank you so much. Great to be here. We started this initiative last year because we figured in our conversations that more mind share is being taken up by marketing than almost anything else within companies. We live in a world where marketing increasingly is nearly everything. Marketing is more complex than it has ever been. It has never been more important. It has never been more complex. Increasingly, I mean, today it's possible to run. I mean, we have numerous examples of companies that fundamentally are marketing successes. You can have your way into the awareness and the mind space of people. You know, it's not going to work. I don't need to talk about this to you folks. You guys probably live this and these challenges day in and day out. And I think that's why a lot of those of you who are here this evening and who have been recognized for one of the awards, kudos to you. This is, you know, as we saw last year, the very first year we did the awards, we saw the quality of nominations, the quality of work that was happening. You know, I am somebody who walks away with the impression that, you know, I'm something of an advertising enthusiast. So I love, and one of the ways in which, I mean, I love old ads, like all the legendary ads that, you know, we all love, and that's part of your training. In our world, you know, we journalists, we are trained to be skeptical of marketing. Like our training in general is to be skeptical of all claims, and of course marketing and advertising makes a lot of claims. But at the same time, I often feel jealous of marketers because, you know, while fundamentally journalists and marketers are both sort of storytellers, we are restrained in some ways because we have to stick to the facts. You folks can use elements of facts as well as fiction. You folks can use appeals to emotion, which are all tools of fiction in some ways. And, you know, we don't have the liberty to do that. Some of our, you know, narrative journalism, in some parts of it, we do do that. But to me, greatly, when I look around the landscape today, the marketing technologies are incredible. The kind of granularity of metrics, ROI, you know, share of the amount of measurement you're able to do today, the amount of targeting you're able to do today, all the quantitative side of marketing has just, like, you know, gone to a level where it's like blows your mind. But I don't feel so sure that you know, the creative side of it, like the poetry of marketing, the poetry of advertising, I don't feel so sure that that has kept up as well. You know, and so, as somebody who is sort of moved more by words and you know, ideas and emotion than by ROI, I suppose, you know, I miss that a little bit. And I mean, which is not to say there aren't great campaigns. I think there are great campaigns every day. It's just that it's a much more competitive world. So if 20 years ago, somebody could write a great line and then be remembered for it for a long time, today that's very, very hard because, you know, the competition is intense. I mean, I don't know how people who do it very successfully, I don't know how they do it. But how many of you here, I just wanted to do a quick straw poll. How many of you here have watched my all-time favorite video on marketing, which is Steve Jobs in, I think, 1996, talking about the Think Different campaign. If you have watched it, could you please raise your hands? Great. That's obviously a fair number, but a fair number that haven't watched it also. I'm going to take this liberty of sort of just playing that video for no other reason. It's just like one of my all-time favorites, and it has so much about marketing. Like, it's a great marketing masterclass in like 5 minutes. So many of you don't need it. You're like the leaders of your profession, but I don't think it hurts anybody to watch it a little bit. Sanjeev, if you could play this, we'll just watch it for a few minutes.
To me, marketing's about values. This is a very complicated world. It's a very noisy world. And we're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is. And so we have to be really clear on what we want them to know about us. Now, Apple, fortunately, is one of the half a dozen best brands in the whole world. Right up there with Nike, Disney, Coke, Sony. It is one of the greats of the greats, not just in this country, but all around the globe. And but even a great brand needs investment and caring if it's going to retain its relevance and vitality. And the Apple brand has clearly suffered from neglect in this area in the last few years. And we need to bring it back. The way to do that is not to talk about speeds and feeds. It's not to talk about MIPS and megahertz. It's not to talk about why we're better than Windows. The dairy industry tried for 20 years to convince you that milk was good for you. It's a lie, but they tried anyway. And the sales were going like this. And then they tried Got Milk, and the sales are going like this. Got Milk doesn't even talk about the product. Matter of fact, it focuses on the absence of the product. But the best example of all, and one of the greatest jobs of marketing in the universe has ever seen is Nike. Remember, Nike sells a commodity. They sell shoes. And yet, when you think of Nike, you feel something different than a shoe company. In their ads, as you know, they don't ever talk about the product. They don't ever tell you about their air soles and why they're better than Reebok's air soles. What does Nike do in their advertising? They honor great athletes and they honor great athletics. That's who they are. That's what they are about. Apple spends a fortune on advertising. You'd never know it. You'd never know it. So, when I got here, Apple just fired their agency. We were doing a competition with 23 agencies that, 4 years from now would pick one. And we blew that up, and we hired Chiate, the ad agency that I was fortunate enough to work with years ago. We created some award-winning work, including the commercial voted the best ad ever made in 1984 by advertising professionals. And we started working about 8 weeks ago. And the question we asked was, our customers want to know who is Apple and what is it that we stand for? Where do we fit in this world? And what we're about isn't making boxes for people to get their jobs done, although we do that well. We do that better than almost anybody in some cases. But Apple's about something more than that. Apple, at the core, its core value, is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better. That's what we believe. And we've had the opportunity to work with people like that. We've had an opportunity to work with people like you, software developers with customers who have done it in some big and some small ways. And we believe that in this world, people can change it for the better. And that those people that are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that actually do. And so what we're going to do in our first brand marketing campaign in several years is to get back to that core value. A lot of things have changed. The market's a totally different place than it was a decade ago. And Apple's totally different, and Apple's place in it is totally different. Believe me, the products and the distribution strategies and manufacturing are totally different, and we understand that. But values and core values, those things shouldn't change. The things that Apple believed in at its core are the same things that Apple really stands for today. And so we wanted to find a way to communicate this. And what we have is something that I'm very moved by. It honors those people who have changed the world. Some of them are living, some of them are not. But the ones that aren't, as you'll see, you know that if they ever used a computer, it would have been a Mac. And the theme of the campaign is think different. It's the people, honoring the people who think different and who move this world forward. And it is what we are about. It touches the soul of this company. So I'm going to go ahead and roll it, and I hope that you feel the same way about it I do.
We don't need to show the ad itself. I mean, it's fine. Most people will be familiar with it. Unless you want to see it. Do you want to see it? It's mostly fine. You know, there are a few things about this video that that's really mind-blowing when you think about it. One is, in the beginning, you note the despair of Steve Jobs, despite Apple, as he says in the beginning, being one of the best-known brands in the world at that time. And I think that tells us something about the need for paranoia, no matter how big you are, or no matter how good your marketing already is, or no matter how good your brand already is. Second is, he talks about how much money Apple spends, and Apple spends a fortune, and still didn't matter, or doesn't matter in his terms. The other thing that really strikes out to me on this one is where he talks about how the world is a really complex place, and this is 1996. It's nearly 30 years ago, right? I mean, the world has gotten infinitely more complex. The competition for attention has gotten, vastly greater, making the challenge of all of us communicators, but marketers all the more, because it's a do or die situation for companies and brands if you don't manage to tell a story well. Anything else? Anybody that really leapt out to anyone that you want to quickly highlight, point out about what Steve Jobs just said? Well, he said it a long time ago, but what we just saw. It's a it's a video that I keep going back to. Like, there is just so much of things that it's one of those timeless things, at least to my mind. In the things that he says, and the challenges that he describes, the unhappiness of a major brand, and just the quest to, I mean, I've been a fan of this for a long time, and as it happens, then later I had a chance to briefly work at Apple as well. So I got to see firsthand how anal they are about where their brand gets represented. Anything to do with brand communication, it's an altogether. So this is all in the context of the excellence in the works that we've seen that we'll be celebrating this evening. I want to thank Equitor and Ramesh for being such wonderful partners to us this time, second year in a row, and hopefully a partnership that will last long. Ramesh, thank you for your partnership. Once again, looking forward to the winners. Looking forward to celebrating the winners. Do look up their work. Do give them a shout out on social media. It's great to be here. Thank you so much.
Sorry, we got it. Yeah, I think it's important. As SK, thanks Ramesh for sort of being partner with us. I actually want to invite Ramesh on the stage. Ramesh, please join us, right? Please give him a big hand. Guys, he's the one and his team who has gone through in sort of a very detailed on each of these nominations. And I'm pretty sure his team also reached out to each and everybody in this room in some shape and form to ask about the nominations and what you people have done at your organization level. So it was well thought through, driven, very deep discussions which had happened. Why don't you come on the stage, share some thoughts about, and the process followed at your end on the award side. Please welcome him.
Thanks, Salim. Firstly, this awards have very little to do with me in terms of work. There's a team which is headed by somebody at the back called Tarun Chakravarti. Please stand up, Tarun. Yeah, all the heavy lifting is done by them. Okay. I'm just here to take credit. Okay. firstly, the award, this is the second edition of the awards, okay? And what I'm most grateful for is I can talk to you personally. Because the MMA Awards is actually a COVID baby. It was born last year. And we thought about it in a particular way, and I'll share that with you. But the fact that I can stand in front of all of you and listen to you, see your faces, and not talk to a bunch of, postage stamps on an iPad is really gratifying. Right? That's the first thing. The second thing is that, now Mint is in its 15th year of what they say is unbiased chronicling of the Indian dream. It is true. It is about the Indian dream. And most of you here actually, in some way or the other, are compositions of that part of the dream. And we expect many more things to come in the future from people like yourself and people not in this room. But as you go along, it will be chronicled by Mint. I think what is left out is the fact that someone like Mint has the ability to make you think every day differently. Exactly what Steve Jobs said. Who spends half a page on the importance of balconies in a business newspaper? Who spends half a page on the value of a crazy boss? This is the kind of stuff that they make you think about in the context of an economy and a society that is changing every day. And we are both the beneficiaries and contributors to that kind of a society. And just remember that. 15 years, I think they deserve a big hand for where they are, what they've done so far. Okay. When we started talking about this award, it is because of this difference in thinking that we had the, let me say, the courage and the confidence of doing an award with someone like them, because they're not linear, right? I, for example, cannot finish my chai in the morning without the Mint. And I keep telling SK this every day. I remind him as many times as I meet him, right? He took it lightly first, and I think increasingly he got why I'm saying that. And therefore, when we started talking about these awards, we were very clear and categorical that this is not going to be about creative excellence, neither is it going to be about high quality of entertainment, which many awards over the years have been, and which many brands, advertising campaigns have been. We were very clear it must do two things. For someone to deserve an award like this must be two things. One, it should have made the customers think differently about the company, number one. Number two, there should be a material difference in the vector of the business. And I'll explain that to you in terms of the filters as I go along. There should have been a material difference in the vector of the business as a consequence of this campaign. If you don't have these two, you don't deserve that award, right? And that's how tough these awards are. Okay? We live in difficult times. We could be much bigger, many more people in this room, all of that. We'll get to that in year 3, there's no doubt. But it's important to make sure that the fundamental dimensions of why this award was born is understood by all of you, right? Very interestingly, I want to share with you what I found, at least my colleague shared the data with me, is the difference between last year's finalists and this year's finalists. Okay, no marks for guessing, but here are the top 3 categories from last year's finalists. Do you know what they could be? Okay, 1 is better health. 21, born in the COVID. The big category was better health. Is that right, Tarun? Yeah. The second was winning back customers. Customers that you lost, winning them back. The second set of finalists were from there. And the third was innovations in staying afloat. You might wonder, why the hell would you give awards for staying afloat? So for example, when everything was crashing around us in COVID, there was a company which actually had a campaign which said, hire a laptop a day for the price of a cup of coffee so that your people can keep working, right? That's the kind of stuff that people thought about, right? And they survived. It was important to stay afloat. 94,000 companies, SMEs, died in 1 month in April of 2021. I don't know if you know that, right? So staying afloat was actually, an achievement. Okay. Whereas in this year, the 2 top categories are personal finance and risk management, and the second is the growth, driving the growth of SMEs. These are the 2 top sets of finalists this year, right? Finally, a word about the awards themselves. Okay, I'm not getting into the maths of it and how we calculate and all of that, but I'm giving you the 4 filters through which we put these, at least the team put these nominations that we got. Okay. First was very basic, that a minimum expenditure of 10 crore on the campaign is what we expected for you to qualify. Below that, it doesn't make a difference. Okay. It went on to like 50 crores and all of that as a range, but 10 crores is the bare minimum. This does not apply to the last category of award, which is the social impact award. Okay. So for every other segment, this 10 crores applies. The second is, listen to this, single-mindedness in the materiality of the business issue. So if you are vague about it, you know, we want to be better recognized, we want to get better top of mind, you don't qualify. You have to be very clear, what's the business issue? Was it clear? Was it single-minded? Okay, and the third one was, you should have been able to define the size of the opportunity that you went after. The fourth, very simple, you should have got growth over category growth. So these were the 4 filters. Make sense? Yeah? You can beat me up afterwards, outside, over a drink. Okay, and with that, I'll come to the 12 awards. I'll just tell you what those awards were, the 12 categories. The first is, of course, we live in a digital age, so this is a no-brainer. The Best Use of Influencer Award. Okay. The second is Best Innovation and Creativity Standard. The Best Storytelling Award. SK Sokuba touched upon this. The fourth is the Fast Track Future Award. Okay. The Youth Marketeer of the Year. The Global Thought Leader. The Best Digital Strategy. The Best Use of Electronic Media. The Best Integrated Campaign, and last but definitely not the least, my favorite, the Best Social Impact Award. Right? Now, to break the suspense, to let all of you know whether you won or not, over to SK. Thank you very much, SK. Sorry, Salim, what's wrong with you?
No, absolutely fine. No, not a problem. Thank you, man. Please give him a big hand, guys. Though he says that he hasn't done the hard work done by Tarun, but he actually has gone through himself each and every sort of a nomination detail, and that's why he knows so much about the ranking and the categories which are there. So time is now, guys. I think we should start recognizing the people and celebrating the people who have done an excellence. But my only ask from you guys is the applause should not stop. The applause should not stop. Let's celebrate. Let's recognize these people who have done a tremendous job as we go forward. Should we start, guys? I'm just taking a thumbs up back, thumbs up here. Okay. The first category is B2B, content marketing, best innovation and creativity as a subcategory to it. And the award goes to company Vodafone Idea. May I call upon Mr. Govind Raj and SK to please be on the stage and give him the award as well. So thank you, Govind. Govind, hello. Mics?
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for this, but my vocal cords are at their worst, but I'll still go ahead. Thanks, Mint, and I think I met Ramesh from Equator, and I think going by the process they followed, it looks really an honor to be here. And in advance, I'm congratulating all the other winners and the nominations that are going to come afterwards. But I'll take a moment to also talk about a little bit of what we did, if you allow me. I think we wanted to engage with MSMEs in the market, especially after the rebounding in the COVID from the pandemic. And our campaign was an endeavor to make them think about the digital journey that they wanted to embark upon. And the Ready for Next is the campaign that we did. And that's about making SMEs in every nook and corner of the India, both B30 and beyond, to think differently about digital and be cautious about the journey and accelerate it. Yeah. So I would like to thank my team, wonderful ladies here, and my agency partner Ogilvy. So we'll have a good time after the evening and look forward to conversations.
Many,
Thanks,
many
Shalil.
congratulations, Govind. Please give him a big hand to him and his team. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're going to stay here with me. Okay. I think, again, content marketing in the B2C category, I would like to probably announce Aegis Federal Life Insurance as the winner of that. And may I have Mr. Karthik Raman, CMO at Aegis Life Insurance. Please give him a big hand, guys. Please applause.
Thank you so much, Mint and the jury for recognizing the efforts that we put in. This campaign was the Young Sachin campaign. I'm not sure how many of you have seen it, but it was talking about being future fearless. Sachin Tendulkar happens to be a brand ambassador, and we wanted to show him in a very different light. So it was a young 11-year-old Sachin. So there's a lot of technology involved in creating the ad. And that's a campaign which talks about, because of the pandemic, there's obviously a lot of skepticism that had set in. And so there's a young Sachin who talks about being fearless and to take the future on. And, obviously use life insurance to plan, which obviously comes at the end. But the idea was to talk about being future fearless. It would be incomplete if I don't mention my team, because it's, as Ramesh said, they did the heavy lifting. I'm only here to take the credit. So, and our partners, BML YNR, who came up with the concept and helped us create this campaign. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Many congratulations to you. Many, many congratulations to you. Okay. And I think, Ramesh said that we are unique, we are differentiated. So one of the award categories is best use of influencer marketing. And I think the winner stands out to be Future Generali India Insurance. And may I call upon Mrs. Ruchika Verma, Chief Marketing Officer, to be on the stage for collecting the award. Please give her a big hand. Many, many congratulations to you.
Thank you, Mint. Thank you to the jury. It's an absolute honor to be here in such august company. Huge congratulations to all the winners here tonight. For us, this is a campaign that is very, very close to our hearts. We launched a new category in general insurance, which is for pets. So if there are any pet parents out here, this would appeal to you. And thank you. Thank you. And, we used Rohit Sharma as our influencer to go out and spread the message. We actually had his dog take over his Twitter on that day. And that is what, helped spread the message amongst pet parents. So thank you very much, everybody. And thank you to the jury. I also would like to thank my team and our partners, Mullen Lintas, who helped us get here.
Thank you. Many, many congratulations from my side. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, SK. I may need you once more, but later. But be here with us. Okay, I think for the next couple of awards, I'd like to invite Ramesh for the stage as well, please. Is Ramesh there? Oh, yeah. I should start calling him a hat man, because I start looking at a hat in the audience. Please be here. Okay, the next category in a B2C, we are talking about best storytelling. Okay, I'm very pleased to announce Deserve. Mr. Sandeep couldn't join us. Can we have Mrs. Kishma Shetty, Marketing Head Deserve, and team to receive the award, please, on the stage. Please give them a big hand.
you to Mint and thank you to the jury. Being recognized here as a new brand, because we are a startup, we just started off our journey 2 years back. It's a great privilege to be here and being recognized amongst the greatest brands out there in India. This campaign that we launched was based on an insight, which was basically that when it comes to investments, people don't know who to follow, and that's the reason they end up taking shortcuts. So that's how we came up with the You Deserve Better campaign, where we wanted to educate people that when it comes to investments, you need to rely on the experts and expert advice when it comes to your hard-earned money. I would like to thank my team and the agency that helped us get the campaign out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and many congratulations to Deserve and you and the team. Many congratulations. Guys, please give her a big applause here. Don't be miser, I'm telling you guys. Thank you. I think in the B2B side, when we are talking about content marketing, we have fast track future. Like I said, we are differentiated on that side. So fast track future. May I call upon Mr. Udit Agarwal, Global Head of Marketing at Exotel, to receive the award. Please give him a big hand. Congratulations, boss. Hello.
So thank you, Mint. Thank you, jury. It's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to receive the award. Thank you so much for that. And many congratulations to all the winners. So this is a campaign we started about 6 months ago. It's called Connect Better. And the whole genesis of this campaign is we tied this to business. And when we say that we wanted to eat, like, as they say, eat your own dog food, our own customer experience was very broken. And we wanted to have a very connected experience all across channels. And when we launched this campaign 6 months later, our marketing source revenue has risen to 43%. So with respect to only the integrated content campaign, we were able to tie back to business. So, so this is for that. And I really thank my entire team here. So we have our entire team, marketing team and business team, to work together. So thank you so much. This is the award for them. Thank you.
Many congratulations, Udit. Thank you for, congrats. Okay, this is a very important award, by the way. Next one. It's in the B2B category, social impact. I think as the only category which is not for a qualification of having an X amount of budget to be spent. I'm very pleased to announce New Growth Credit as the company winner. And may I invite Neha Israni, Head Marketing and PR, on the stage, and the team all together to collect this award. Many congratulations, guys.
Thank you, everyone, and I'm so proud the entire team is present here to receive the award. So we are Neo Growth Credit Private Limited. We are basically into the lending space to small businesses. And, you know, I'll tell you where the root of this idea came from. You know, we kept thinking, you know, which story to tell and all of that. And we realized each of our customer, every small business has a resilient, powerful growth story to tell. In fact, if anybody in your circle runs a small business, you know, you should speak to your uncle or your, you know, next door neighbor or your kirana wala, and he'll tell you a fantastic story about how he started from, how he used to carry 10 kgs of gehu on his shoulder and where he has reached today. And that is where the genesis of our campaign lied, where we said that, you know, we don't need to tell any stories. Our customers will tell the stories.
And we kind of activated the entire ecosystem, including our partners and our employees, about how proud they are working for the small businesses. So this is for that pride. Thank you, everyone.
Please give them a big hand. And especially this team requires, as it is a social impact, guys, why are you so miser on your applause, guys? Please give them a big hand. Thank you very much. Many, many congratulations for that. Simply. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. It is indeed. Ramesh, thank you for, yeah.
You qualify for alcohol only based on the clapping. I'm telling you now.
Okay. But Ramesh, we would need you later as well. Okay. For the next category, I would like to invite Business Head West Hindustan Times, Neeraj, to be with us on the stage for giving us the award. Please give him a big hand. Thank you for being us. You know, no, but you know, he's a very busy man. Getting hold of him is a very difficult task. But thank you, Neeraj, for being with us today. Next category, best use of electronic media in a B2B category. Very pleased and honored to announce ICICI Lombard is the winner there. Sheera Kapoor is not able to join us, but I would like to invite Palak Shah from the team to collect the award. Please give him a big hand.
Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Mint. Thank you, jury. I mean, Salam MSME is definitely a campaign that we all are very close at ICICI Lombard. And we focus on MSME as a sector that was facing a lot of challenges, where a lot of losses were incurred because of the pandemic. And we came up with business insurance, which basically covered a lot of their losses, and a lot of brainstorming has happened in this campaign, and we're happy that we launched this campaign on International MSME Day, and it has fabulous response, and currently this is the third award that we're winning in 1 week's time. So
many, many congratulations, but this is the best one.
Yeah. So much.
Okay, thank you. I think the same B2C, best use of electronic media. Very pleased and honored to sort of announce the name of the company's lead school. Mr. Anupam is unable to join us today, but may I call upon Shalini Bhattacharya and Mrs. Neha Bhandari to receive the award on the stage. Best use of electronic media lead school. Please give her a big hand.
Thank you, Mint. Thank you to the jury. It's an honor for us to be here. For those of you who don't know, LEAD is a school ed tech company. What's special about us is that we work with affordable private schools in India's small towns. And I'll request Neha to talk a little bit about the campaign that got us here.
Hi, so just like Mr. Steve Jobs, we also believe in doing things differently. And with this campaign too, because like Shalini mentioned, we cater to the small town India. So these are people who we wanted to show them versus tell them. And that's exactly what we did even with this campaign. Unlike any other education brand that typically, you know, has a child in the communication in their ad, we decided to tell the story of the brand through the lens of the parent. And that's how we not just got eyeballs, but we also translated that into business. We had almost a 2.5x growth in schools and a 3x growth in students. So recognition like this from Mint only makes us stronger in our belief and brings us a step closer to achieving our mission of building a confident India. So thank you, and accepting this on behalf of Anupam, Aditya, the entire team at Lead, and our creative agency TBWA to bring this alive. Thank you so much.
Many, many congratulations. Many, many congratulations. Okay, marketing cognition. I think best digital strategy in a B2B category. I would like to announce NTT as the winner, as a company winner. And may I call upon Mr. Prasenjit Roy, CMO, on the stage to please collect on this award. Please give him a big hand, guys. Congratulations.
Good evening. Thanks, Mint. Thanks, Judy, for the recognition. Entity is actually a technology powerhouse, so we use technology across the entire customer journey. And marketing here is a business function, so we contribute to the top line and the bottom line. That's why technology is so important and pervasive. It's the fabric on which we work. This award is actually dedicated to each and every team member. And hearty congratulations to all the award winners. Thank you.
Thank you. Many, many congrats, Prasenjit, to you and your team. Okay, the next category. I think it's very important to sort of best integrated campaign. Now, we do campaigns and we do have a single focus, but how do we integrate very well? Very pleased to announce Airtel Business as the winner. Airtel as a brand has a business division in a B2B category, is the winner. I think we are not able to have Kaustav Chandra as here. But I think, may I invite Satyajit on the stage to collect on behalf of Kaustav Chandra this award. Please give him the big hand.
Thank you, Mint, and thank you, jury. So I'm here on the behalf of my CMO, Casey, who unfortunately could not be here today. It's a privilege to be in a room full of marketeers. You know, I'm not from marketing at all, but you know, some interesting conversations around data explosion and the emerging trends and all of that, right? What we do at Airtel Business is actually help you guys protect that data so you guys can actually dish out the amazing stuff that you guys do, you know. So that's the Airtel suite of products wherein we are providing cybersecurity and the long suite of our portfolio. So on behalf of Airtel Business, again, thank you, Mint, and thank you, jury. It's been a privilege.
Thank you, Satyajit. Thanks a lot. Many congratulations to Airtel Business and Casey. Thank you, Neeraj. And we may invite you later. Okay. Okay, I think this is sort of a last three awards. Okay. And these are leadership awards under sort of different categories. And I'll just name those categories. One is the Youth Marketer of the Year. Then you have Global Thought Leader. And in a B2C category, we have another Youth Marketer of the Year. Now, for this, I would like to invite first SK once again on the stage for giving this award. And Youth Marketer of the Award, honor to actually announce Credit B as the winner for this leadership award. Can we invite Mr. Ishan Bose, Chief Marketing Officer, to receive the award? We have him.
Good evening, everyone. So this award is very special for me. One of the reasons being that, when I used to be younger, we used to have this daily subscription of Hindustan Times and to be able to be honored on a platform like this means a lot. At Credit B, we are India's largest fintech lending platform. We are a digital-first platform that provides loans and credit solutions to the young India, which is what I think was talked about earlier today. And personally, I feel, we work with a single-minded focus of enabling and empowering the youth of India financially, which is what Ramesh just mentioned some time back as well. And it's a fairly young team, but we work relentlessly towards this vision, and I'm proud that we are making the right steps in the right direction. Personally, what I take from here is a lot of responsibility and encouragement to do more, to do better, looking onwards and upwards. And once again, thank you to Mint, Hindustan Times, to the jury for considering me for this award. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, and many, many congratulations to you. Thanks a lot. Okay, the next Youth Marketeer of the Award. Yes. Sorry, I think I'll invite Neeraj once again as well. Yes, please. Sorry for troubling you. But this, announcing the name of the company, but tell me, Imagine Marketing. Have you heard about Imagine Marketing? Have you heard about BOAT? See. So this company, the winner of the Youth Marketer Award is the BOAT, Imagine Marketing. And I think I would like to invite, there's somebody on behalf of there to please collect this vote. Why don't you come, please? She's Sumera Bose. Congratulations. Okay. And the last we have picked for the best one, and for that I would like to again invite Ramesh on the stage, the Hatman. And I'm going to ask you, guess this one, right? The Global Thought Leader Award in Marketing. Okay? I'll give you sort of 3-4 choices. These are random choices, and one name is the winner. Okay? First choice is Amazon. Second choice is Google. Third choice is Flipkart. Which one is the winner? Any guesses? Who said? Who said Google? Wow. Why? Randomly. They're supposed to be best marketers, right? She's absolutely right. The Global Thought Leader Award is Google Cloud, not Google, Google Cloud. I think Jaideep Deshpande is the winner, and I think we have Astha Juneja on behalf of Google to collect this award. Please give her a big hand. Thanks a lot. Congratulations, Google, and thank you, Ramesh, for being with us. We have another 20 categories, and all the awards goes to me. That's what the final decision has been taken by Ramesh. Immediately he told me right now the next 20 categories is with you. And no, I haven't bribed, believe me. Not even a single penny. But thank you guys, thank you very much. May I call upon all the winners to be on the stage once again, so that we can take a very nice photograph all together at all winners and give you a big nice applause and hand for winning and celebrating your recognition. Can we have you quick on the stage, please? Quick. All of us winners, please. Yeah. Take the trophy and award. Obviously. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations. Thank you, man. So, guys, in the last, I think there's nothing much to add. I think we had a fantastic evening today. We deliberated on most of the sort of debated topic today. We went into very discussion mode, and the insights were shared by the practitioners itself. More importantly, I think the excellence done by these people, and we are able to recognize them today, brings a lot of insights for us. And some of those insights, we can bring it back to you in other forums of discussion as well. With this, I will come to a closure. But without thanking my partners, Exotel and Ozontel, I can't come to a closure on this one. So can we have Exotel and sort of our Ozontel team standing up? Please give them a big hand as well. And I would like to also thank editorial team as well as my team here. Can we have my team on the stage, please? Who made all of this possible. And I do a lot of hard work, by the way, not like Ramesh, right? Only taking credit. No, guys. Can we have everybody, please? So, your experience is all managed by these people, actually. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. What you saw on production, stage, design, music, everybody, topics, discussion is all driven by my team here and many more people as well. I'm there, don't worry about it, to take the credit as well. But guys, thank you very much for being with us today. Yes, now I got it. Thank you. And for being a wonderful audience today, please give a last and big hand to yourself. We'll all see you outside celebrating, drinking, eating, and talking to each other. Thank you very much.